Hi everybody in my YouTube community. It has been so long since I made a video and I have been writing down ideas for this video for months. I finally have time to sit down and just talk and make this video, and I'm super excited about it. I've decided to just be myself, no hair and makeup, doesn't matter what I'm wearing. This is not rehearsed. All of this is just going to come right from me, however it comes out, and I really appreciate everyone's support. This is going to be a Mandela Effect video of things in my life that I have experienced. These seem to do pretty well. People think they're kind of interesting. I have really had a great time making these and remembering things. And the more and more I think about the Mandela effect, the more confused I get, yet the more interesting it is for me. So let's just get started. Okay, so my first story about the Mandela effect that I remembered was in the year 2015, I moved into my current place I'm in now. I rent a condo. I signed the paper, the lease, on, it was February 28th, a Friday of 2015. And the reason that I was told to come on that day instead of my actual supposed move-in date of March 1st was because it was a leap year that year, and their office is closed on Sunday, which would be the 1st. So I was there signing the paper on the 28th, Friday. The next day would be Saturday, the 29th, and then Sunday would be the 1st. And she said, instead of giving you your key on Monday, I'm going to give you the weekend to move in. And our office is closed on Sunday the 1st. So you may as well just do it Friday, so you have a day or two over the weekend to move. And I was like, that sounds great. That's wonderful. I didn't even think about it. But then after I was moving in, like those next few days, it was a leap year. But I thought that was weird because I know just from my life experience that leap years are usually on the even year. So it should have been in 2016. And it's usually the same year as the presidential stuff, like the voting year. So 2016. And it wasn't. So the calendar when I moved in said it was a leap year. I was confused later when I thought about it and thought, how could it be if it's an odd year? And then I just kind of let it go and didn't think about it. But the more I've thought about this over the years, it's like a Mandela effect for me that's changed. When you look back, it was not a leap year in 2015. But when I moved in on the calendar, it surely was. And she was just following the calendar and trying to be nice and giving my keys before the 1st. So if you guys can explain that one to me, I don't think we were both confused and all the calendars were printed wrong. The second thing is Tupac, his death. Okay, so I was in high school. I was actually a junior in high school when Tupac was killed. This was like a huge deal. This was like, everybody was talking about it. I mean, it was all over the news. It was all over MTV. It was a lot of me and my friends liked Tupac, his music. And at the time, it was reported, and there's no way I'm confused about this, that him and MC Hammer were at a fight, some kind of boxing fight thing in Las Vegas. I don't know who was boxing. And as they were walking out of the building, a drive-by shooter knew they would eventually come out, shot Tupac, and he was never seen, and the vehicle was never ID'd. It happened so fast, like this was a drive-by shooting thing, but probably not random. So here I am, a couple months ago, you know how sometimes free movies come up on YouTube or clips of movies, when you go down a rabbit hole? They're saying that Tupac was killed while sitting in a vehicle next to Suge Knight after this fight. Not in my reality. That's not how it went down. It was a drive-by shooting. He was standing near the road with MC Hammer. And then I remember there was some movie made back in the day. I think it was either about MC Hammer's life or Tupac's life, but I don't know. It was years ago, but it was after this, obviously. And I think Hammer said something it happened so fast, I just ducked, I couldn't see who it was. He obviously was saying he was there and he was traumatized from it. But then in this like clip, this other movie that I saw, MC Hammer wasn't even there. I didn't remember that wrong. Something changed with that whole thing. Does anybody else remember that MC Hammer or that MC Hammer movie? He talked about that, or that was shown in the movie. The next thing, okay, so this is really, there's no way for me to prove this ever, or that other people might remember this, I don't think. But so when I was a junior and senior in high school, I used to babysit these two girls after school that lived near my house. And every week their mom would leave me a check at the house for $50. And she would put it on top of the microwave. And of course, when you get a check, in the corner it says the person's name and address. So she always spelled her name Linda with a Y, Lynda. And I used to back then call her, oh, Linda with a Y, because I've never seen that before. I always knew Linda as being spelled Linda. And I kept in touch with this family for years. Like, I was sort of like a nanny in a way to the girls. And then I actually ended up, after the second year of babysitting them, getting like a real job, graduating high school. And I didn't lose touch, but I would once in a while like see them or like send them a card. And we kind of kept in touch that way. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was over there and I saw some of their mail, and all of the mail was Linda. And I was like, it's not Linda with a Y? And I kind of laughed. And they all looked at me like I was freaking crazy. And I babysat there for like 1.5 to 2 years, and always saw her name on like the mail, you know, stuff sitting there, like, because I would clean up like the house and the counter and stuff because I was there and watching the kids. And the checks, obviously I cashed the check every week, or put the check in the bank every week that she paid me to watch the girls. How did this woman's name change? I started working there, I'd say in 1997-ish, 1996. From then to like 3 years ago, somehow her name changed. I don't think so. And they all think I'm nuts, and they don't remember this. And so I didn't push it, and I'm still kind of freaked out. So as usual, this is all frustrating sometimes. The last topic, okay, so a lot of people talk about Mandela effects on the map, like how the world map has changed to them. This is what I'm going to talk about. So people are going to think that I'm just like not remembering right, or I'm silly, or I like am confused. I'm not confused. I remember distinctly learning in 4th grade. I remember like the teacher like had a huge map in the front of the classroom, and we were talking about continents. So, you know, there's Europe, Asia, North America, South America, all the continents. Well, I learned one of the continents was Africa, that Africa is a continent. And then each of the little areas in the continent of Africa, I learned those were called states. So Africa now is called a country. And there's different parts of Africa that are their own kind of state or country, I guess. And Africa is not a continent now. Am I remembering this wrong? Because that's what I was taught. I was taught there was, you know, Asia, Africa, Australia was also a continent and a country. I don't know. Somehow this has changed, and this is strange. But also, speaking of Australia, I remember on the map, and maybe the map wasn't to scale that I mostly learned about geography on, like, growing up, but it was much farther away from any other land on the map. And now it seems so much closer to like Asian countries. And there was, it was kind of close to a couple other islands, but they weren't like major big islands. They were little. And now it seems like there's a lot more little islands. So I'm not quite sure like if that changed or if I'm just remembering it incorrectly, but why would I specifically not remember that correctly? I just wonder if Africa has changed for anyone else, and if Australia has changed for anyone else. There's a few other changes I did notice, but they were very minor, and I think maybe that was me not remembering. But like usual, the more I talk about this stuff, the more I think I sound like I have a memory problem, or I maybe wasn't paying attention, or maybe I wasn't as detail oriented that day as I usually am. But then I'm like, no, because why would I be questioning it if I didn't learn it that way, or I didn't see it that way, or I didn't, remember that to be that way. So as usual, I'm also like, how many more little tiny details of things I learned in the past or saw in the past, or like words, things I read in the Bible, things I saw on TV are going to change to what I remember them? And are people just editing things now too to make them different? And then I think it's a Mandela effect. So I'm just wondering what everyone's thoughts are. Those are my 4 Mandela effects today. And I hope everybody's having an awesome day. Thank you.